Objective. After listening to this module, you'll be able to describe some of the many dramatic physiological changes that your body goes through when you're stressed. The stress response. Another million-dollar question: where does it all begin? Where does a stress response originate? Your kidneys, your heart, your brain, or your liver? Of course, it all starts in your brain or your mind. So stress affects your entire body. Just like the model of stress, the process of these physiological reactions is a chain of events or a domino effect. Everything that happens to your body when you're stressed originates in the brain. The best way to envision your body's reaction to stress, especially acute stress, is again to imagine yourself being chased by a bear. In response to seeing a bear, a part of the brain called the HPA system is activated. The HPA system consists of the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands. Those are the three glands that are most closely associated with the stress response. After seeing the bear, the hypothalamus secretes a hormone called ARH. ARH then stimulates the pituitary gland located below the hypothalamus to secrete ACTH, another hormone. ACTH then stimulates the adrenal glands located on top of each kidney to secrete adrenaline, also called epinephrine, noradrenaline, also called norepinephrine, and cortisol. These three stress hormones are primarily responsible for the physiological effects of stress. The release of these hormones activates an area inside the brain, which triggers an emotional response to a stressful event. In the case of the bear, this emotion is most likely fear. The brain also releases neuropeptide S, which refers to small proteins that modulate stress by decreasing sleep and increasing alertness. This gives you a sense of urgency to run away from the bear or the stressor. Have you ever had insomnia when you're going through a particularly stressful period? Your inability to sleep is caused by having a lot on your mind, but having a lot on your mind causes you to have elevated levels of neuropeptide S, which inhibits sleep. During a stressful event, hormones and neurotransmitters suppress activity in areas of the front of the brain concerned with short-term memory, concentration, inhibition, and rational thought. This sequence of mental events allows a person to react quickly, either to fight the bear or to flee or run away from it. It also interferes with the ability to handle difficult social or intellectual tasks and behaviors during that time. Hormones and neurotransmitters also signal the hippocampus, a nearby area in the brain, to store this emotionally loaded experience in long-term memory. In primitive times, this brain action would have been essential for survival, since long-lasting memories of dangerous stimuli, such as a large bear, would be critical for avoiding such threats in the future. Cortisol is very important in organizing systems throughout the body to deal quickly with the bear or the stressor. Cortisol affects the heart, lungs, circulation, metabolism, immune system, and even the skin, and helps each of these to quickly deal with the stressor. So cortisol is incredibly important if you encounter a bear or stressor requiring increased power, speed, or strength. But if you don't need increased power, speed, or strength, it's dangerous. Of all the hormones that are released when you're stressed, cortisol appears to be the most dangerous to your health. Studies indicate that elevated cortisol levels decrease appetite, but it also slows down and decreases the strength of the immune system. It shuts down your body's ability to repair tissue. It prevents you from sleeping, along with neuropeptide S, and it's actually strong enough to break down bone. One study found that the bone density of 40-year-old depressed women, which would cause elevated cortisol levels, was that of 70-year-old women. So 40-year-old women had 70-year-old bones. Remember, stress is when you're out of homeostasis. You're out of homeostasis when you're depressed. Also, cortisol is a steroid. Although steroids are used to treat allergies, in the long run, they derange the entire immune system. So if cortisol is secreted continuously due to persistent stress, there will be flaring up to allergies. How many of you with allergies notice a flare-up during stressful times? Once the threat has passed, the systems return to normal. This is known as the relaxation response. The hormone that causes everything to go back to normal is called acetylcholine and is associated with the relaxation response. And all the physiological changes that occur with activation of the parasympathetic nervous system are associated with the relaxation response. So you can see there's a lot that goes on inside your body each and every time you encounter a stressful situation. The extent of these changes is in proportion to the perceived stressor. Encountering a bear or seeing a car on top of your child would most likely produce these physiological changes to a greater extent than driving in traffic. Or maybe it depends on how bad the traffic is. Key points. Stress is a process that originates in your brain and has a domino effect on your body. Cortisol is good if you need to physically fight a stressor or run away from it, but it can be very dangerous if you don't need it. Once the stressor has passed, everything goes back to normal during the relaxation response. And that's it.